award by Super.
Hey, welcome to You'll Probably Agree. And today, Superman
Yes.
2025
Yes.
has dropped on HBO Max.
Woo!
Now it is actually called HBO Max. And we're
Again.
here to look at all the major reboots of Superman, not
Yep.
the stuff on television,
Right.
not any of that, just the major Hollywood reboots and not their
Yeah,
sequels.
not all the
or they
movies.
would.
Not all
Yeah,
the movies.
That's too many.
You can mention the four real quickly so we can start.
Yeah, but we're talking about Superman 1978 with Christopher Reeve, or I think it was actually titled Superman
The
movie.
movie. Yes.
Yeah, that's right, because they have the television shows and stuff like that.
Right.
And then there's Superman Returns, I think from 2006, and that was with
Yep.
Brandon Routh, where we'll get into why that was kind of a weird thing. And then, of course, you have Man of Steel. I think that came out in 2013.
The Snyderverse.
Yeah, the Snyderverse, the Snyder Broverse. And I mean, I got my thoughts on that film, which I think is similar to everyone's thought when it came out. And of course, we have Superman, simply just titled Superman from 2025, starring David Cornswet.
Cornswet.
Oh, is it Cornswet or Cornswet? Because I've been looking
it up. He's Brit, right?
Yeah. No, he's an American. He's all American.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like a British name.
Yeah.
Clavill's a Brit. Clavill's a Brit.
Or Cavill. Yeah, but yeah.
Clavill. Ah!
You say tomato, I say tomato. But yeah, anyways.
They turned it off already.
Yeah, I know.
I think we'll mispronounce his name.
I think we'll jump straight into the first one. Now, Pat, you told me a long time ago that Superman is a seminal movie to you. So can you tell me a little bit about your experience with Superman when it came out? Because I wasn't alive then, and what the movie means to you?
Well, I would say 1971 or so, when my brother was, he had to be a little older. Let's say it was 72, right? So anyway, about 9-10 years old, he started collecting comics. Now, I never really considered it when I was his age. At that point, I was like 12. Yeah, this is perfect. So I got the timeline right. So I never, I picked up comic books along the way, but he got into it seriously. And because he got into it seriously, I got into it seriously. I rode his coattails on that. I was reading everything he got and really into it, and we both got into it. So one of the greatest events of the 70s for us, for my brother Steve and I, rest his soul, is that the Superman movie, we were apoplectic about it. This was way before the internet, way before anything like that, of course. And we just could not wait for this movie. Saw it the first day it came out, and it fulfilled every expectation I had for it. So, there's going to be some prejudices we're talking about this, but I will say that once the Superman, the movie came out, it started the whole thing evolving. And that's basically where we're at when we talk about these four films. So, the thing is, and my poor brother's collection now is in my other younger brother's garage. And I looked at that pile and I said, it meant so much to me, to me. And it really, on his tombstone is the Superman sign, everything. Wow. Steve was a fanatic, and he made me a fanatic, and I'm grateful for that. Superman's my favorite fictional character. He is.
I see. And, we really do need more people like Superman, who actually stand for truth and justice and what used to be the American way.
Well, acceptance. And that's what I think makes his character so great. Because he's an alien, and they emphasize that in the recent film. Mm-hmm. Because he's an alien, he has acceptance for everybody. Mm-hmm. He sees no wars. He sees no, other. He is the one that is pure of heart in his acceptance.
Well, I'm glad
And other fictional other people as they wrote him gave him other flaws and such, but that's my interpretation.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that he's an alien because he actually the thing that I think that the Richard Donner original film has that none of the other movies have is this sense of wonder and also a true origin story that you can't really retell because it's
Yeah,
been told. And they try to retell it with Man of Steel, but it's just very action
yeah,
packed and
yeah,
bloated.
yeah.
And, it leads to the same place that the original did, anyways. Or I should
Right,
say, really, like the second film when they get out of the Phantom Zone. Um, but the original had this sense of hope and optimism that I mean, 77 was when Star Wars came out.
right.
Like the Vietnam War wound down, everyone was kind of burnt out, and America's
The,
been through hell.
the
And they had
70s as I lived it was a resting place
yeah.
between the tumultuous 1960s and the end of actually the Vietnam War ended in 75 with the fall of
Mhm.
Saigon. So after and that resulted again in Carter being elected. So when Carter was elected, there was a collective expelling of breath from everybody, no matter what side you were on, because
Yeah.
Nixon had screwed the pooch. Ford pardoned him, which was very unpopular, and then he lost the election because he pardoned him. But so Carter came in and a collective sigh of relief of the entire country. Now, the people behind the mechanics of it were plotting a new strategy, and basically that's where we're at today. But the point was, politics wasn't a big thing back then, and so Superman coming out was just part of the American way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like the new film kind of reminds us of that, but I'll
Yeah,
get into that in a
yeah,
second. But yeah, the thing that was great about Superman is how it shows how someone who can come from somewhere else has good intentions in mind. And
right.
I think my favorite scene from Superman is not all the heroic stuff where he's saving Lois from a falling helicopter
Mm-hmm.
or reversing
Or you
the
can believe a
rotation of
man
the
can
planet.
fly.
Yeah, but it was actually when his father Jor-El, played by Marlon Brando, instills his beliefs to him. And here's a quick clip of that, and I'll get
Cool.
into a little bit why.
Excellent.
They can be a great people color they wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way. For this reason, above all, their capacity for good. I have sent them you, my only son.
And then after that, Superman takes off. He has the suit, but it's like you realize, oh, these guys from another planet, they don't want to conquer or destroy. They want to protect and serve and be the message of good. Because what the Kryptonians or Jor-El can see, not the Kryptonians in general, because
they're dead.
Zod is
They
a
blew
psycho. Well, yeah, they're dead, and Zod is also a psycho, and there was probably people who were in his factions that agreed with him. But he actually tried to instill hope and optimism and wanted to bring that to other people. And that's something that Donner's film exuberated while also telling an incredible origin story, because Superman's origin story is the story of Moses. It's the story of a kid from another land, where
That's why two Jews invented him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because instead of the wicker basket going across the river, you have
metaphoric.
Yeah, you have the spaceship entering Earth. But there's
And
a million
Mary and Joseph on Earth, and if you want to go Christian on it, but yeah,
and there's been a lot
of combination of the Jesus and Moses story. Very interesting.
Yeah, I know that story because the screenwriter of Batman, when he was in college, they asked him if he wanted to do a class, and he said, "Yeah, I'd like to do a class on comic books." And the dean didn't take him seriously. He's like, "You want to make a comic about funny, books.
You're
or
talking
whatever,
about
or
Michael
class.
Uslan?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Indiana University boy, my alma mater.
Yeah. And basically, the dean, he was a comic book fan. So then Michael said to him, "Okay, can you tell me the story of Moses?" Sure. He starts going over the story of Moses, and then he goes, "Can you tell me the story of Superman?" He starts going over the story of Superman, and immediately within like the first sentence, he stops himself and he goes, "Your class is accredited," because because basically it showed how comic books stem from, either the Bible or mythologies. And,
Sure.
that's why they call them modern day myths.
Well, if you read the origin of Siegel and Schuster inventing Superman, you are exactly right. They combined what they knew about the heroics of the era with Greek gods, with biblical stories, and created the amalgam that became Superman. Now, a lot of the stuff besides Siegel and Schuster was amplified by the radio show that developed out of it. Kryptonite was invented there, and really the whole aspect of the Daily Planet, et cetera, et cetera. But the one point I want to make about the original Superman the movie, and the current Superman, is that the original Superman needed some star power to sell it. It was just the old-fashioned movie notion. That's why Brando's in it. That's why Gene Hackman's in it. They were paid 3 times what Christopher Reeve was paid to do the movie. If we spin to 2025, there's really no huge star in this. Everybody knows Superman. So we can put a new actor in there, and we can put the supporting roles with Holt and Rachel Brosnahan and then other unknowns, basically playing the other parts. So, even Valerie Perrine as Miss Teschmacher in the original, and Ned Beatty. They're all like those 70s guys that were circulating. I bet Ned Beatty made more than Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, I mean, they might have. And of course,
the difference between then and now.
Yeah. But it paid off in the end for Reeve, because, he became super, and people didn't want him to play it, or like when he was an actor, like his friends told him, "Don't take this role because you'll only be this role for the rest of your life." Which, I mean, if that was the only role I did for the rest of my life, I would be fine with that.
He never dissed it in that way. He got a lot of opportunity, but his career was kind of fading out by the time he had his accident. But he's in is it Time After Time or Time Island? Where he plays the guy who goes back in time, a very famous romantic film, and he's doing a separate thing. And he did another one where he was with Michael Caine. Can't think of it. Anyway, he was a good enough actor to break out of that. Just like Cavill, he's a good enough actor. He can do other stuff.
Yeah.
But then the unfortunate accident, and it was pretty much over. But the thing again, the point I'll make about Superman the movie as well is that to me, it's sort of like a film like Casablanca. It is not only in its time was it mega popular and beautifully rendered and all that stuff, but it has stood the test of time to become a classic. And I mean, really, that's the biggest point about that movie I want to make. And we can talk about ratings later, but
well, what I think is so incredible about that movie is that it was the movie that created the structure for the superhero films that we see today.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like every superhero movie kind of follows the same thing. Like Act 1 is your origin story.
Yeah.
Act 2 is your
first assignment, your first case.
Yeah. And then Act 3 is, the big fight in the end.
Yeah, the heroics that solve the problem. Exactly.
Yeah. And then you have the falling point, like Spider-Man did it. Batman didn't do it, and I think that's why Batman wasn't. Because here's the thing, Batman was a movie, 1989.
Oh,
yeah. That movie, it was the movie that got me into movies. It was the, and it was a film that, like stylistically, it was a very good reboot, but in terms of story, it was very shallow and doesn't really like hold. But and that's why Superman was so much better, because it had like a whole outline. Like the original screenplay was written by Mario friggin' Puzo.
Yeah. There was
And
a lot of cooks in that stew, though. You had
yes,
Robert Benton. You had,
Mhm.
another couple of. There was a partnership that also lent some. Anyway, yeah, Puzo was the one that I think did a major rewrite on it and was able to push it forward through the system.
Yeah, I think from what I know, he was like the original writer on it, and then they brought
Ah,
in other
then they brought in
screenwriters.
the Bentons and guys like that.
Well, yeah, because he wrote like a 500-page screenplay that was planned for 2 movies, and they filmed Superman and Superman 2 at the same time.
Right.
But yeah, like but basically before they started filming, I don't know how long, probably a year, they rewrote the script and they didn't leave like any of Puzo's stuff in there.
Hmm.
Which is kind of interesting because he has like top writing credit on it. But as someone who's been in Hollywood, who's like been around the screenwriting department, there's a lot of screenwriters whose work disappears, or like their name is not credited in a movie, and a lot of times they're not even paid. So they're
Well,
like most movies we've
sometimes
seen. Yeah,
that's
know
what the
who really
Writers
wrote it.
Guild exists for.
Yes.
They do a lot of the arbitration. There's a friend of mine in Hollywood who's a screenwriter, and his original treatment was finally made into a Netflix film 14 years after he first gave it in. What he did is he had it novelized, and the novel proved to be so popular that they were able to revisit the screenplay, which he didn't write, but the Writers Guild gave him credit and story by credit. So it was a screenplay by Allison Burnett is his name, and Joanne Smith or whoever the other screenwriter was, and story by Allison Burnett. And the Writers Guild arbitrated that. So there's a lot of problematics with screenwriting credit because there's so many people like script doctors, like Elaine May, the old partner of Mike Nichols, was a big script doctor. And she was the type of person that took the money and didn't need the credit. And so you'll see somebody else's name on the script. Oh, that's a witty script. And it turns out, 2/4 of it is lame. But that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So what I find interesting is they did the first 4 Superman movies, right?
Yeah.
Last one being Quest for Peace, Atoll Bomb. And that was, I don't know the year, probably mid-1980s or so.
Yeah.
And then they don't revisit it again until 2006. And
Wow.
and this is the first reboot that we're talking about, Superman Returns. Director Bryan Singer. And this was designed to be a sequel to the first one.
Yeah.
Where he goes away for 5 years and then comes back and finds that the world's moved on. And we see Lex Luthor again, played, unfortunately, by Kevin Spacey. The canceled Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And then, all the stuff with Lois. The only pure Superman where nobody knows his identity is the first one. It's Superman the movie. And then the second one, of course, he reveals to Lois and etc. But Superman Returns, like the Superman this year, we know. Lois already knows and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what was your feeling about, how old were you when this reboot came out, for example?
You know what? I kind of went through a little bit of fan denial when it came out because I couldn't accept that I thought it was bad. And I remember I read Roger Ebert's 2-star review and disagreed with it. But then as the years went on, I accepted, I don't like the movie. And there's various reasons why. One is I think that it was slavishly attached to the Christopher Reeve film instead of being a full reboot. And you can't follow up Christopher Reeve, and they tried to do that. When they cast Brandon Routh, I thought that, it was just kind of an unfortunate casting. He was kind of doomed from the start because it's like, okay, you're going to be a clone of Christopher Reeve. We cast you because you look exactly like him. But you could tell when you're watching the movie that he doesn't exuberate the kind of confidence that Reeve does. He just kind of looks like he's confused, like, I can't believe I'm here. Yeah.
I want to swing backwards for a second.
Yeah.
What was your first encounter with Superman as a fictional character, and how did that develop through the evolution of the first movie towards what we're talking about, Superman Returns?
Well, I always saw just like TV reruns of Superman,
Cartoons
78.
The movie. No. I meant as a child. When did you first encounter the Superman character?
That's how I encountered him. Was
I get it.
Yeah, was reruns.
But you weren't a comic. Film. You weren't necessarily a comic book guy.
No, I've never really been. I read a few comics. I've read
Everybody does.
Watchmen, Spawn. Like stuff like that. But like, I'm not like super into comics. I've always been more into movies.
Right.
So when people say, "Oh, this is faithful to the comics," I'm like, sure, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want to know how the movie works. And
so you saw that on TV. Did you see the 78 version on TV first time?
Yes, I saw it on TV. I've never seen it on the big screen. I'd like to see it on the big screen.
That's a good one. Yeah,
in a film projection. Not the 4K.
Like a 35 millimeter copy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm not really into digital rescans. Sometimes they look good. Like I thought Blade Runner looked incredible.
I think the technology is catching up, but so you basically, as you encounter him as a pop cultural icon.
Exactly.
Like TV, I didn't saw the movie. So you would say that Superman Returns was the first one that you saw in the theater.
That was the first one I saw in the theater.
And how old were you? I asked that question first.
2006. I was like 19 at the time.
19. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was 19.
So when old enough to know you've had a relationship with the character, and old enough to like sit down and say, "Oh, this is a reboot from the Superman the movie." Okay.
Yeah, and I was
trying to set the scene.
No, you're good. I remember I was excited to see it. I would go on the internet, and this was like the early heydays of broadband.
Yeah.
And I would watch the clips from the movie. I saw the movie, and I couldn't accept that I didn't like it because I feel like it wasn't like the movie overtly did anything inappropriate with the character or wrong or bad. It was just boring. Like nothing happened to the movie at all.
I think you're really pointing to something that's really significant. There was a lack of energy in the film.
Yeah.
And I it's not that I look at it fondly, but being a Christopher Reeve acolyte, I mean, he was the man to me. It didn't bother me that they found Roth to be, the look-alike and all that stuff. What bothered me is he was not good in the role.
He was he just seemed uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and very
you nailed it. It seemed like somebody was behind his shoulder the whole time. But it's very hard to be placed in the middle of another man's legend.
Exactly.
And he wasn't up to the task. That's okay. As far as the movie is concerned, it didn't bother me, except again what I mentioned. But and interestingly enough, it's not my least favorite either. So
yeah, I mean, for me, this one is my least favorite. I just feel like it's the kind of like the laziest one, where they're like, okay, we're going to take everything that this filmmaker did and we're going to try to replicate it.
Right.
And the story, and the funniest thing is I think Bryan Singer said
Bryan
this.
Singer. Oh,
yeah. Not like what he said. What I recently read is that he felt like the movie was too much aimed at a female audience. There wasn't enough like violence and punching and stuff like that. And I partially agree with that, not with the female audience part. But I feel like, this was a Superman movie where the visual effects are updated. You could do more. And what he does throughout most of the film is just lift things up. and it's just kind of boring to see that. And
I need to rework. I need to look at it again.
Yeah.
I couldn't rewatch it, so I have to
Yeah.
just think about what my impressions were at the time.
Yeah.
And it's hard to give it a fair shot that way, but
yeah,
c'est la vie.
yeah, but
That's life.
yeah, it didn't feel. It was just kind of like it had just kind of the same plot where like nothing happens. Lois just kind of comes off as very rude and neglectful. I don't think Kate Brosnahan was that. No, I know
No,
I'm
Bosworth. That's
no, Kate
Rachel
Bosworth.
Brosnahan
I
and
know.
Kate Bosworth.
I'm mixing them together now. But Kate Bosworth, yeah, she did not have the charm or likability that Margot Kidder had.
Yeah,
She was just
I
kind
agree.
of cold, and
She didn't really have a
yeah.
script either. But
yeah, and she didn't really have anything to play with.
nobody could rise above the material in that one.
Mhm.
It's kind of unfortunate, but again, it wasn't my least favorite.
Yeah, well, here it still was my least favorite because it just didn't do anything new or original. Like the newest thing that happened in the movie is that Superman had a son, and that and it's like we should have
Spoiler
focused
alert.
on that. Well, whatever, like they should have focused on that more than just Lex Luthor has a evil plan and he's gonna do the same thing he tries to do in every other film. And like maybe the most interesting part is where we think Superman is dead, but we know he's just knocked out for a while. And that was like maybe the first time we saw Superman vulnerable. And that was like the only interesting moment of that movie. The rest of it was just copy and paste, wish and wash. And yeah, it was just a cast that didn't seem to blend well. The cinematography, the digital cinematography they used in that movie looks awful. Because
see again, I have to see it again, but
yeah.
I don't have as hard a feeling towards it that you do, and it's just it's probably because I haven't seen it in a while.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there you go.
Look at these visual effects; they have aged terribly, and they look like crap back then. Now,
gotta disagree there. I love the plane sequence. That was the highlight of the film to me.
It looks like a cartoon. It's the same thing. It's like Lois Lane is always about to die, whether it's an earthquake or I think like at the beginning of the second film, she really falls.
That's the ethos of the comics, though.
I know, but then they're doing
always
it
gotta
again.
save Lois Lane if you're a Superman comic.
Yeah, but it's kind of like when you have to save Mary Jane in all three Spider-Man films. It's like, okay,
we know this. Perfect parallel.
Yeah, parallel. So, yeah, the plane looked like a cartoon. The digital cinematography is just too clean and too pristine.
That was the wrong one to show me. I love the plane sequence. That's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, but the plane scene just doesn't work for me. Like, it doesn't really look like he's flying.
I got you.
Yeah, but anyways, I could rave on. But moving on.
Moving on,
we get to Man of Steel.
Yes.
And how do I sum up this film? Probably the same way everyone else can. Let's take a look.
Superman kills.
Superman 9/11. Now, here's why.
Or disaster porn, they call it.
Yeah.
Definitely have that. But a lot of these movies do. But go ahead.
Well, here's what I think with Man of Steel. When the trailers were coming out, I actually kind of got excited, and I wasn't a Zack Snyder fan. I'm still not really a Zack Snyder fan. But the movie is made more for trailers than it was for like an actual cohesive story, because they have like all those trailer shots, like when he puts his fists on the ground, you just see a little bit of snow trickle away, and then he takes off when he's first learning his powers. Like, those are cool moments. The suit looks fantastic, and thank God they got rid of the trunks. I don't like the trunks. And I like the fact that the movie, unlike Superman Returns, like, it's a disaster, but at least they took big swings and they took chances with it, even if those chances weren't successful. But yes, I had a problem with the destruction. I had a problem with Jonathan Kent being heartless and saying, let the kids in the school bus die. And I had a problem with Superman. Like, I get it. It's his first assignment. He doesn't really know how to save everyone, but at the same time, he shows very little effort or guilt over the lives that he couldn't save. So yeah, it felt more like an edgy teenager who's into Greek mythology directed the Superman film, which is more about Superman's powers than the man, and also had very obvious religious sort of iconography behind it. Which didn't work, like when Superman's in the middle of space and he's in the Jesus cross pose, or when he's talking in church and there's like a little halo above him. Yeah, it didn't work. And and I think with a little more time it could have, but I don't think Superman is the kind of character you want to make grounded, because these are the results that is disturbing.
Well, the thing is, Henry Cavill rose above, again, a very difficult script. Both him and Shannon in the movie were decent foes, right? Mm-hmm. But again, the disaster stuff and the overly complex plot and the de-emphasis on relationships and the emphasis more on what's going on. I can't get into the nuances of it because I didn't watch it again. I don't remember the Pa Kent telling him that it's okay or whatever. Yeah, I liked Costner and Lane as Mom and Pa Kent. And once we get into the last Superman, we'll talk further. But what I remember about this is kind of being disappointed, basically. Mm-hmm. But I did like Henry as Superman. I thought he had a nice humanity to him. There's a real small scene that I loved in the movie when he's wearing a.
Uh-oh. We lost Pat. I think General Zod took over his signal, and now we can't hear him. Anyways, do I just keep talking until here? So I guess while Pat's frozen, I better send him a message. I guess I could talk about some of the things I liked about Henry Cavill. I like the fact that Cavill. Oh, are you back?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
You froze up. You said I liked Henry Cavill. I liked something about his
he was wearing a Jayhawks t-shirt because he's from Kansas.
Yeah,
and he's drinking a beer just like a regular college kid. There was something about the humanity he gave the Kent character.
Yeah,
that rose above the. Although he was a good Superman too, I liked his nuance on Kent. The best nuance on Kent since Reeve did it. Reeve was definitely the man. Again, when we go on a summary, we'll talk about that. Right. But yeah, this thing was just stuffed too much. It was like a turducken. There's too much in it. And all the meat suffers because of it. So
I kind of like what you were saying about Henry Cavill, because here's the thing. I don't think Henry Cavill was directed the correct way, and that's because of the weight of the material and the tone that Snyder was going with. Because this is supposed to be like a grounded, very brooding Superman. And Superman's supposed to be fun and energetic. And the weirdest thing is that Henry Cavill,
the script didn't do him any favors.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing is that Henry Cavill actually in real life is like a very fun, cool guy. Like I
love him. I mean, his subsequent career. Here's a man who's played Sherlock Holmes and Superman and did just as well with both characters. Yeah, he doesn't get enough credit because of the Snyderverse, but say la vie again, it's just his timing, the script. It's a complicated character to work with. A for him, D for the movie.
Yeah, because the funniest thing is
I like Shannon too. So
yeah, The funniest thing is, and yeah, Michael Shannon is a terrifying General Zod. I
Yeah.
agree.
And I'm glad they brought him back when it was a Flash. Yeah.
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
kill him.
Yeah.
But
it's fine. I know he's a parallel universe.
yeah, but like a friend of mine who's worked on a bunch of productions, like he worked on Dark Knight, and like we worked together on Transformers and Divergent. He worked on Man of Steel when I wasn't available to be in, like, it was like some little town for Smallville, but
Yep.
like I asked him, like, who's your favorite actor? Who's the nicest guy? And like without hesitation, he said Henry Cavill. And then you see like Cavill's a gamer and he's like really into nerd culture and like he's super nice to everyone. And it's like he actually is Superman. He's British Superman. But
Yeah.
Snyder didn't give us any of that. And I get why with the tone, but it's like if you're gonna, and they tried to make a lighter Superman with Henry Cavill, but it was kind of too late at that point because we saw Superman let thousands of people die. And even in Batman versus Superman, where that's part of the plot, Superman just doesn't seem to care. It doesn't seem
And
to
poor
weigh on
Henry,
him.
too. He had to show up at the end of Black Adam.
Yeah.
And you know,
And then next
teasing us,
week, yeah,
teasing us, and then just go away.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he loved and endeared himself to the character. It's just that the timing and the Snyderverse and all that stuff keeps coming around to stymie even the best of actors doing a very difficult role, which leads us into
Okay, which finally, well, here's the thing. This movie was kind of the antithesis of Man of Steel, because in Man of Steel, where it was disaster porn and Superman wasn't save anyone, well, James Gunn had a little slight criticism of that. See if you can catch
let's
it.
play the clip.
That's James Gunn saying, not only does Superman save people, but he even saves the squirrel. What do you think of that, Zach? You know, and here's the thing. This, when I first saw, and this is going to be a little confession of mine. When I first saw Superman, I did not like it. I gave it 2 stars, I think 2.5 stars out of 4, or I should say Guinnesses. And it was because I felt like the movie was trying to do too much. I wasn't particularly a fan of David Cornswit's or Cornswet, whatever, his portrayal of Clark/Superman. I thought he was too aggressive. There was too many scenes where he was just screaming when he's talking with Lois and they're talking about the whole conflicts with Baravia. And then when he's trying to find his dog after, oh, wait, hang on. This time I'll put out the spoilers. Okay. And then there's the time when
I'm sure everybody who's seen it has already seen it.
Lex Luthor like frames him and releases that tape of his parents saying destroy everyone, which I bet they'll retcon in the sequel. And
there's a lot of
okay. And then the final speech he makes, if you close your eyes, he kind of sounds like John Cena in that final speech. He's just like screaming his head off, like, I put my foot in front of me every single day and I protect people. And it's like, I get why you're mad, but it doesn't seem like Superman. However, I rewatched the film, and when I rewatched it, I actually liked it. Did I love it? No. If I saw Superman as just a comic book film and it's not tied to the whole Superman legacy, it's like a regular, okay, comic book film. But is it like an amazing Superman film? No. But here's the thing. I feel like this is the best direction they could have gone. I like the fact that they weren't just trying to do Christopher Reeve again. And that was my problem with it in my review. I'm like, this guy comes off like super bro than Superman. And I still had some of those problems, but I like the fact that he is this likable guy. He is someone who really cares about saving lives. Although there is that one scene where he lets the giant starfish attract Metropolis as he has the Justice Gang or whatever they're called, like try to stop it. or have it take care of themselves. And I'm just like, wait a minute, you're letting them take care of it, and you don't whatever. That was like one scene I had a major problem with.
I mean, you're pointing out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, on your second viewing, you're in the same place I was on the first viewing.
Yeah.
As a Superman, my favorite fictional character, right? Now, I have to tell you a story, speaking of my passed away brother. I went to the wrong theater that night. I went to AMC River East.
Oh no.
So I found out where it was, and I got, this is so hilarious. I went to the other side, got the train back to North and Clybourne, got a car, and when the car was driving me to the Western Theater, Regal, there was no traffic in front of us. I swear to God, man. I was like, this is so eerie. And I'm talking, we went up on the Kennedy and then took another exit ramp down. Not one car in front of us.
Wow.
I got there 10 minutes early from going to the wrong theater, 25 minutes before this time. So it took me 15 minutes from my panic to sitting at the front door of the Regal. So anyway, that's the preliminary.
I had the opposite that day. I like when I left my
a horrible theater
my
to try
place.
to get to.
Yeah. When I left my place, well, it's actually closer to me because I live in the suburbs, and I don't live in the city anymore.
Oh, you don't? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm in Highland Park now, but shit. Now the FBI knows I'm there. But
he's on live right now. You can get him.
Get him, handcuff him. He said something against our dear leader. Anyways, when I exited off the ramp where I was from Highland Park to get there, my GPS was telling me to go somewhere else, and I'm like, oh, stupid GPS, whatever. I get to the exit ramp, and for an hour, I was stuck on the same exit, and I had to go right back off the ramp and then exit again somewhere else. Yeah, so it was
late.
No, I was actually still 30 minutes earlier.
You allowed yourself the time before.
Yeah, I always give myself like a big window.
Oh, yeah, you have to with the traffic around here.
Yeah.
But so anyway, my based in my Supermanology, there were some real problems, right? Number one, Ma and Pa Kent, terrible. I just
they're too hillbilly-ish.
Make them Hicks is not my thing. I get there was the tender scene between him and Pa Kent, and I don't mind making them character people because there are more character than any other thing. But please make them noble, and please make them Midwestern. Not that what I think James Gunn had no idea what people from Kansas were like. I mean, seriously, it was just it was a bad decision. You know?
I remember talking to Katie Glidewell on Ian's podcast, or Ian Simmons' podcast, Kicking the Seat, and she said she's from Kansas, and people don't sound like, "Oh, Clark, we missed you so much. You're my son." Like, no, that was him kind of having this, sort of, maybe he grew up in a city. I don't know where he grew up, but he kind of had that mindset towards, oh, this is probably what people in Kansas sound like, and that didn't work for me.
And I kind of not resented, but I don't think they needed the Justice Gang. First of all, it was really kind of it's comic relief, right? But it's the type of comic relief that hits you over the head. Superman didn't get the best fight. Superman's in a cage for 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah,
but having said all that, I'm right with you when you watch it the second time. I know they have to go in another direction. I know they have to launch him as a different kind of Superman. So I have to accept that as a long-time aficionado of the character, my favorite fictional character. I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he's launched, and I'm glad he's going to be in another film. That's all there is to it. You didn't need the Justice Gang. You didn't need all the gadgets. You didn't. But that's what they think the movie public wants, so they're going to give it to them.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
Gunn's
a problem.
Gunn's an interesting guy.
Yeah,
and he has something up his sleeve on this. So I'm willing to wait and see.
Yeah.
So
I wish it was less about the DCU and more about Superman. And that was kind of like my big problem with it when I first saw it.
No, you're right on that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I could, interestingly enough, I'm on a site called Fortress of Multitudes. It's a comic book site, and the guy who runs it, who I respect dearly, is he hates Zack Snyder to the fiber of his being. Completely disses everything having to do with that period of DC films. And I thought, oh, he's going to really go after this one. After I saw it, I said, oh, Dan's gonna nitpick on this one like I am. And no, he loved it, absolutely loved it. So there, you can view it from the sensibility of saying it will go on, and it's a successful relaunch, and it's not mirrored in the Man of Steel controversy, and I can dig it for that, and I can give it my blessing for it.
Yeah. What I like about
nobody
it,
cares.
Yeah. Well, what I like about it is, and there are a lot of things I don't like, as the things we pointed out.
Talked about, yeah.
Yeah. But what I like about it is that it's a different direction with Superman. I do actually like him, despite some of the screaming scenes.
Yeah.
The chemistry between David Cornswood and Rachel Brosnahan, I think, is genuine.
No, it's totally.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this in a second, but yeah, I was a big fan of their relationship. Even though, it bothered me that they established that they were boyfriend, girlfriend initially. She knew everything. I mean, what's wrong with the secret identity? They seem to have they're aseptic to the secret identity.
Well,
which I think is one of the more interesting aspects of the Superman character. But yeah,
okay. Well, here's the thing. I actually like the fact that they started off on the branch of She Knows.
I know. I didn't bother me. I'm just saying they have there's something about the secret identity that bugs all these guys.
Yeah.
So.
I like how this Superman is almost perfect, but he still has flaws. He's still kind of arrogant and boorish a bit because he's
young. He's young, and I think that helped too. Sort of a combination of where Cavill was, because that's an origin story, and I dig that.
Yeah.
Now, is there any other points about Superman that you want to talk about?
Well, what I'd like to say is I like how when they had their argument together, you could see how he kind of needs to change in a way.
Right.
I like the fact, because we were bringing this up, this is literally a movie about an illegal alien, because he came from another planet, landed on Earth, and doesn't really have proper documents, because his driver's license doesn't say Kal-El on it.
Right.
So, I like the fact that it was taking people's fear of something that is not from where they are, kind of like how people fear anyone who isn't white, and they have someone like Lex Luthor who exploits that fear to further his own assimilation to power. And then you have the whole thing where there is like this Trump-Putin parallel when you have the president of Moravia, who's like the Russian version of Trump. Sure. And then you have Lex Luthor, who's like Putin. And they're using this relationship and the conflict going on in that country to actually, bring a conflict in that will bring Superman in. But it's very modern, but it doesn't feel forced or too modern. Some of the jokes didn't work, but most of them did. And at the end, it's too overcrowded. I didn't like the fact that Superman was in the pocket universe for like a huge chunk of the movie.
I could have went and got 3 bowls of popcorn and not missed a scene with Superman, except in the prison.
Could have been called Superman and Friends,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But at the end, it stuck the landing.
It didn't bother me at the end, right? At the end, I was just, okay, I'm throwing up my hands.
Yeah. I think the whole parents plot twist, where they said destroy everyone, that's like intentionally antithetical to the character. Stupid. And I don't think it works, but I think he is going to retcon it. I think James Gunn knew when he was writing this scene, okay, don't worry, like we're going to find out that Lex actually, because there's no, irrefutable proof that Lex didn't tamper with that footage, because right when it glitches, it's like when it switches and then they say kill everyone.
Well, that just speaks to the manipulation of images in our digital age.
Yeah, especially with AI.
Yeah. I mean, I like the crypto reference, but again, they tortured the poor dog. That thing with the squirrel and everything was stupid. And I was pro Supergirl, the way they portrayed her. It made sense to me.
Oh, she was awesome. Again, I loved what they did.
Another generation. We need to refresh the story so we can adapt to who we are now, right? Yeah. Who we are now. And then that's how Superman is. He's adapted to every era because we need a person like Superman in every era. So, but the reason I say this is because I wanted to go over, and we talked a little about this, your best Superman and your worst Superman. Best Superman, worst Superman.
I would. Okay, so we're jumping straight into the best Superman. It's always going to be Christopher Reeve. I feel like he's emblematic of the character. You can't really replace him. Whenever anyone thinks about Superman, they think about Christopher Reeve to this day. But the worst Superman, oh God, I feel bad saying it, but I think Brandon Routh.
Wow, you're right on. But the thing is, that's exactly my two. But I'm going to say something about that. There's no real distinction. It's not like, oh, he's terrible. It's just that the other three are better. Yeah, just three are just a little better. So for me, it goes Reeve, Cavill, Cornsweet, Roth.
Okay, so I would go Reeve, Cornsweet, Cavill, Roth.
Okay, cool.
I think because like Cavill, again, I think he could have made an incredible Superman if it was not written to be so dark.
Yeah.
But he was just kind of dull with the material, but I think that's how they wanted him to be. So you can't really blame him for it. But yeah, I mean, Ralph, it's just he doesn't really bring anything to the character. No personality.
It's very slight. It's a very slight line. So who played Kent best and who played him worse? Clark Kent.
Well, I mean, again, I'm going to go with Reeve because we kind of know the bumbling kind of fool sort of Clark Kent image. And
he was better as Clark almost than Superman, but he played both equally good. But I loved his Clark. Loved it. Always will. Always will.
One huge thing I wanted to say about Superman Returns that really bothered me. Mm-hmm. How did the characters age backwards by like 20 years when it's supposed to take place 5 years later? Okay, this movie takes place 5 years later. The last film, they're using typewriters. They have all analog technology. And then 5 years later, they have plasma screen televisions all over the Daily Planet, and people have cell phones. Like, they should have had it take place.
I think it was 80s. A parallel universe 5 years later. Basically.
Well, they need to establish that then,
Yeah. Who was the worst portrayal of Kent?
Kent, well, maybe I would say Henry Cavill because there is no distinction between Superman and Clark Kent in it. He's just kind of, and we never see Clark Kent do any journalism stuff outside of like Batman versus Superman, where he interviews Bruce Wayne.
I thought I didn't like Cornsweet's Kent because he never even got into it.
Yeah,
he had the glasses. They took, the great thing about Reeve is the scene where he takes off the glasses, and puts his shoulders back, and he is Superman. And then she comes back in the room. He's got his glasses back on, and he's Clark.
Yeah,
no tricks, just that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He with his because he's Christopher Reeve is sort of like, well, what Michael Keaton did with Batman, Christopher Reeve did with Superman. And nobody's going to be able to replicate that as much as they try. And yeah, he kind of like how Michael Keaton came up with a Batman voice, and everyone's tried to copy it since. Everyone's tried to copy the whole Clark Kent Superman dynamic because you can't go too overly comedic like he did in the campy 70s version. So you have to be normal. And one thing I love that they inserted in the new Superman was the hypno glasses. So like when you wear the hypno glasses, it fools
very
everyone
controversial in the 70s when they did that. But well, that's a discussion for another time.
I'm fine with it. At least it explains how people don't know the difference between this and this.
Best Lois Lane.
Yeah. Oh, best Lois Lane is Margot Kidder, followed by Rachel Brosnahan. I think she really captured Kidder's energy and also her intelligence. And Kate Bosworth's the worst one. She just kind of came off as bitchy. And then you had third place would be
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams. Yeah. She's just kind of there. There's nothing really. It's just Amy Adams being Amy Adams. They didn't really give Lois Lane a personality at all. So
my best was Rachel. She just killed it for me. I loved how she dressed her down. She felt like a person who was a journalist.
Yeah.
She felt like she didn't let all those pyrotechnics overwhelm her. She was great in the scene where Mr. Terrific was the best fight in the movie, where he's fighting all the people, and she has to react, this way and that way. I just thought she was terrific.
Yeah.
And then my worst is Amy Adams for the same reason you just said. She was just there.
Yeah.
Margot is second. Margot's second, of course, and then Kate is third because she looked more like Lois Lane than Amy. They both played the same role. They were both just there.
Yeah.
But Kate looked more like her. So, best Luthor.
Oh, this is going to be very controversial. Kevin Spacey.
That's my best Luthor, too.
Yeah, same here. Well, because Lex Luthor is a smug asshole.
Yes.
And Kevin Spacey is a smug asshole, except Lex Luthor doesn't touch people in their private areas, as we know. I don't know what he did with Miss Tessmacher, but yeah, like he would be the first one.
No, that wasn't controversial at all. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh, who is the worst one?
Oh, that's easy. Jesse Eisenberg.
Well, no, but he's not in these of the movies we're overviewing.
Same universe though, but yeah.
No, I know, but of the movies we're
of the three.
Overviewed.
I would say Nicholas Hoult. He just kind of comes off like an angsty crybaby in this movie. Like even like when he's defeated in the end, he cries, and I'm like, what the fuck? Lex Luthor wouldn't do that. And he's
I wasn't hip on his interpretation at all. Yeah. But I'm going with Gene Hackman. Why? Because he had no idea who the character was. Yeah. He refused to shave his head, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He was taking the paycheck and walking. Well, and it was a comic character. So,
yeah. My thing with Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor, and he's my number 2, or is he?
Yeah, of the 3. Yeah, Kevin Hackman Holt. I get it.
Okay, but like Hackman just comes off as too blue collar to be Lex Luthor.
Doesn't seem like an evil genius at all.
Yeah, and like he's just walking around like I expected him to eat a Subway sandwich while smoking a cigarette, being like, okay, then we're gonna take this piece of land and then we're gonna go here, and it's like, God rest Gene Hackman's soul, but I never really found him convincing as this evil genius, while Kevin Spacey, who was the valedictorian of his class, he really encompassed
he knew
smugness of that character.
Yeah, he knew how to do it.
Yeah.
So your best Jimmy?
Oh, I don't know. I like the new kid who played him. I think because he was like a cool nerd, and they actually gave Jimmy a personality.
Yeah,
and the others. Great. Like he's just, I don't even remember what Jimmy was like in Man of Steel.
He wasn't in Man of Steel.
I didn't think so. I
looked it up. He wasn't in it.
I don't even remember who he was in Superman 78. And then, he's just kind of in Superman Returns, but he's just there. Like
that's the guy. That's the guy who was worse. I didn't even remember him. Sam Huntington.
Yeah.
My best Jimmy. I gotta go classic with McClure.
Okay.
But definitely Skylar Gonzalo was damn good.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing that character again.
Because he actually had a personality,
Yeah. Best Perry White.
I don't know. The original guy.
Jackie Cooper.
Jack Cooper. He because he kind of came off like the standard newsman, like, okay, I need this story faster.
Exactly.
Because he's very much
very much like the comic book guy.
Yeah.
And the worst, the other 3.
I know.
Franklin Jello was Perry and
I know.
Superman
I
Returns.
might go with either Langella or Fishburne. You know,
Okay.
because Fishburne is very stern, but he's like caring. So I like him more than Langella.
Wendell
Wait a minute,
Pierce
was
the
Perry
guy
White
that-
even in the new one? Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was. He's that dude from New Orleans.
yeah, it's a dude from Elsbeth.
Oh, is that it? I saw him in the New Orleans doc. I thought. I don't know, but
Anyway,
he didn't really get a lot of screen time.
No,
where
he
we could
didn't. To be
establish
fair
him.
to him, he didn't. But the screen
Yeah.
time he got, he was terrible. And
Yeah,
I
he
read
was
an
just
interview
okay.
with him. I read an interview with him, and he said, "I had no idea who Perry White is." I'm like, "Who the hell is casting this movie?"
Wow, that's crazy.
It was totally crazy. And what he did is he asked people who he knew were comic book fans, and they gave him some bad advice. Now, to be fair, you're right. He was in for about 6 minutes.
Yeah, like the always time we see him, he's like, "Just remember, kid, you can just call me Perry or something like that." He says it's like Jimmy.
In my review, I said, "Worst Mary Mason."
Oh,
Worst
you're the
Perry White ever.
you're the comic book guy from the
Comic
Simpsons.
book guy from the Simpsons.
Yeah, where's
Best
Perry White
mom,
ever?
best mom podcast.
Best bomb. Oh, that's easy. The guys from the original film.
The
They were the
original.
best. Yeah, I don't know their names off the top of my
Glenn
head.
Ford and
but-
Phyllis Thaxter.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the worst Pa Kent by far is Kevin Costner because he's a fucking sociopath in the movie. Yeah, after them. Well, the worst was after Costner.
Well, you would say the worst than Ma Kent was the woman from the last movie.
Well, I would say Diane Lane was fine as Mom Kent. You know,
Yeah.
she actually seemed like she had a brain. The Mom Kent from the new one, they all just seem like idiot hicks. You know, so I think
They're
everyone
definitely
kind of agreed that.
my two worst are Vince and Hal from the last
Yeah.
movie.
Well, if it
All right,
wasn't
I'm
Kevin-
gonna surprise you here.
yeah.
My best mom, Pa Kent, Costner, and Lane.
Oh, even when Costner said let the kids in the bus die. Yeah.
It was the nobility of how he played Pa Kent.
Okay.
That's my whole thing. You know, this is coming from the Superman nerd world.
Yeah.
So finally, best Jor-El.
That's Marlon Brando, of course.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I know. I'm gonna pick all Reeves. I grew up on Reeves.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I did not like Brando in that role. Again, I think he had no idea about Supermanology.
Marlon Brando's
he even mispronounced Krypton, for God's sake.
Yeah,
Krypton.
Yeah.
And I could just say, Marlon, it's Krypton. No, it's Krypton. That's
care.
what the script says.
I
I wish I could do a Brando. That would be funnier.
It's not called Krypton. I don't care.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
It's stupid. Either
That's
way.
good.
But
there you go.
yeah, but I like the fact that Brando is such a good actor. He wins Oscars for reading his lines taped to other actors. Like when he's doing his lines in Krypton, I don't know if you know this, but his lines were placed throughout the set.
I knew his trick.
He could just skate off, and he could still be so engaging, and you hang on to all of his words. You know, I mean, second to him is Russell Crowe. I thought he was actually a pretty good Jor-El.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay.
The worst was Bradley Cooper in the last one.
Well, he doesn't even speak English in it, which I thought was awesome. I thought that was so cool that they actually speak their own language as they should.
Bradley Cooper spoils all movies. That's just my opinion.
Well,
I hated him as Leonard Bernstein. I hated him in the remake of Star is Born. I hated him in that Philadelphia movie he did. Anyway, poor Bradley. He's doing a movie about stand-up, so one more chance. One more chance.
Yeah.
So finally, we reached the final. We reached the ranking of the Superman.
Okay, let's go. And I have my media assets for these. So
great.
We'll go with the first one, Superman 1. I think we're both going to be on the same page. How many out of 4 Guinnesses would you give
Perfect
it?
score.
Perfect score from you?
Yep.
Perfect score from me.
Yes.
It's the movie. I mean, is the movie perfect? No, nothing's perfect. With perfection, there would be no balance. But anyways, we go to Superman Returns. How many would you give it?
You're going to be surprised on this. It didn't bother me. It reminded me again of the first one, and I talked about the airplane sequence. 3 out of 4.
Okay.
Superman
Yeah.
Returns.
Actually, that's what I thought you were going to score. So, haha.
You gave it
All
4. Wait.
Yeah. Me? Oh,
3.
yeah. I gave it a solid 4. Well, I almost gave it 1.
Okay.
But there are certain scenes that work, certain elements. I forgot to talk about John Borman, or what the fuck his name is.
We
The
can
guy
go
who's
real
like,
deep, man.
yeah, the guy who does all the scores for for Bryan Singer before he got caught diddling kids too.
Jesus.
I is this a half? I can't tell. But yeah, I would give it 2. Whoop, wrong one.
I got 3
2
on
out
mine.
of 4.
You gave me 4. I said 3.
Did I give you 4? Boom.
Yeah, you gave me
3.
4 on returns. It's 3.
Yeah. I think I clicked on the 3, but it looks like a 4 on that corner there.
It does.
Yeah.
It's definitely 4.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
doesn't matter.
you
Doesn't
gave it a
matter.
3.
Yeah, 3, and you gave it 2.5.
This one is a 2.
2
For
okay.
me. Yeah. It's
Cool.
like I get the intention, I get the intent, but it was just lazy. Okay. Anyways, moving on to Man of Steel. What do you give Man of Steel?
This was my least favorite of the 4. 2.5. But I still recommend it because of Clavel.
Yeah.
Clavel. Why do you keep saying Clavel?
I don't know.
Like the clavicle. That's why I keep saying it.
I was thinking the clap.
Because of him. I that's why I it's my minimum recommendation. A Superman film has a real hard time doing wrong for me. So there was no wrong in it. 2.5.
Yeah. For me, I would give it the same exact score, 2.5 out of 4.
Good.
It gets the half over Superman Returns because it at least tried to be original. Did it work? God, no. But at least it tried. So now
I feel the same way.
All right. So we finally move on to James Gunn's Superman.
Yes.
What do you give it, Chad?
Pretty easy. 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
I for the reasons I mentioned, I realize it's an evolved Superman. And Superman does need to evolve. I'm happy for it. I'll see you next film, James Gunn.
Yeah. 3 out of 4 for me as well.
Yeah.
It took the character in a different direction
Yep.
without bastardizing what that character is.
I agree.
And it actually had the deepest roots to the comics. Even if you don't read the comics, you could be like, oh, I can see this is from the comics. And I liked that. I liked the characters and I liked the setting. And I like the fact that the action wasn't just Superman lifting stuff. He's actually defeated and has problems.
But again, he doesn't get the best fight.
Yeah, but that was cool. Well, he does, like when they unleash, like after he beats the clone, and then like they unleash like the army of other metahumans, and he just throws them around like ragdolls. Like that shit was awesome.
I like Mr. Terrific's fight in the compound, and I found it unusual. A very comic book thing is to have a giant creature attacking a city, which they did in Superman. They did in Fantastic Four. Yeah. I'm like, wow, they're really bringing the comic book ethos back.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, or Batman versus Superman did that too. They brought in Doomsday, which why insert the death of Superman? Whatever. Anyways, but no, Pat, before we take off, what would you like to plug?
What would I like to plug?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Let's see. Oh, I will be at the Reeling Festival doing Q&As on Wednesday night and Thursday night of next week. What are those dates? I can't bring them off the top of my head. Let's see. What is that? September. Let me get my calendar here. Of course, I close my calendar. Hey, wait a minute. Yes, thank you. I'm getting my phone out because I want to get the dates right. And I'm going to be at Landmark Cinema on the 24th and 25th, 5:30 shows, doing a Q&A moderation for Reeling Festival, the LGBTQ plus fest. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And of course, Hollywood, Chicago, and my 2 radio station, SSR in Joliet and BGR in Monroe, Wisconsin.
Nice. Yeah. Weekly. And we have your links to your site as well.
Other stuff. And also, I'm not a tour guide anymore, so please take that out.
Oh, yeah, I did. I took that out a while ago.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but anyways, if you
It's
guys
still
like,
on the YouTube.
yes, I have the link for that.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right. But if you guys liked what you saw or listened to or whatever, please subscribe to
Yes.
YPA Reviews. You can find it on social media on X and Facebook. You'll
And if you-
probably agree. And of course, YPAReviews.com has all the good stuff on there. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. We'll see what I come up with the next week, but maybe we'll cover good night and good luck or something about free speech.
It was a real pleasure to do this.
Yeah.
You gave me the right assignment because I love talking about Superman, and
Yeah.
and may through the spirit of Superman, my brother Steve McDonald always fly.
Absolutely. Fly high, brother.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming on, and here's a little outro, and we'll see you next week.